All right, welcome to the Postgame Show presented by Ricoh. Chris McPherson alongside Ike Reese. And yes, today's result is not one that we hoped would come to fruition. The Eagles losing 48-7 to the New Orleans Saints. Certainly, we knew it was going to be a tough task to go down to New Orleans facing the hottest team, the highest scoring offense in football, but we did not expect this type of result. So nonetheless, the Eagles are now 4-6 on the year. Ike, a loss is a loss no matter how you cut it. It doesn't matter if it's by 40 points, 3 points, what have you. The Eagles outscored from the jump. Eagles not able to get anything going on offense. 3 and outs on the first 2 drives. The Saints had a field goal on their opening drive, and then after that, were able to just get touchdown after touchdown. Eagles made it somewhat of a game in the second quarter, but the Saints got a late touchdown just before halftime to make it 24-7, and they were off to the races after that. And you look at the box score says it all right there. Time of possession, 15-minute advantage for the Saints. 3 turnovers by the Eagles. The yardage gain there, the Eagles not able to get much in the second half, already down by 17. So the Saints clobber the Eagles here. And really at this point, the Eagles, we have to look at the big picture view. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of this game. We're going to hear from Doug Pearson. We'll hear from Carson Wentz. And we'll talk about this game a little bit. But by and large, the Saints paced the Eagles in this one, okay? We have to start talking about big picture, what lies ahead for this football team, Ike, as we figure out where do we go from here. The Eagles now 4-6 on the season after they were, a week ago hoping to climb back into the division race, hoping they would get over 500 against Dallas. Now they're 2 games under 500 with a critical 3-game streak of division games coming up. And at this point, those are all must wins. But we don't even want to really look that far into the future. It's all about where can the Eagles go from here after such a devastating loss to New Orleans?
Well, they're certainly going to want to put this loss behind them, Chris, as soon as possible. Not a whole lot to take away from the film of this game. This is one of those games as the coaches, as they get ready to come back here to Philadelphia from New Orleans, they'll probably watch it on the plane, but not a whole lot to gain from a team perspective as far as moving forward and what can you learn from. New Orleans, clearly just a better team. Not a whole lot went right for the Eagles today in this football game. As you mentioned, you really have to look at what the Eagles have in front of them, and not so much as the long road in front of them, but really next week versus the New York Giants. This was going to be a difficult game for the Eagles to win. They were going to need to play pretty much the best game that they would have played all year long in order to win this game on the road in New Orleans. That obviously didn't happen. The hope of New Orleans possibly overlooking the Eagles did not happen as well. The Saints came in looking to make a statement against the defending champions in the Eagles, and the Eagles just didn't have their best, which was required today. When you're going up against a New Orleans Saints team, they're still really trying to establish themselves, improve something to the rest of this league, and put this league on notice to say we are the best team in the NFL for the 2018 season. And that's how the Saints played today, whereas the Eagles sort of still trying to find themselves. We'll get into some of the things that ailed the Eagles today that really didn't give them a chance to go up against what is arguably the best team in the NFL. If not the NFL, certainly the best team in the NFC, as this Saints team has already taken down the Los Angeles Rams earlier this year. So Eagles, just not their best game. Carson Wentz, arguably his worst game of his Eagles career. Definitely when you look at Doug Pearson and his short tenure as head coach here, 2.5, a little bit more than 2.5 plus seasons. This is easily the worst loss of Doug Peterson's career. 48-7. The Eagles under Doug Peterson typically come out to play. They're usually in the ball game till the end. This was a game that was over early, probably in midway through the first quarter, if not certainly early in the second quarter when the Saints seemingly took control of this game, 17-0. Eagles trailed early, never able to really gain any type of sustained footing in this game. Every time the Eagles had any little momentum going, Saints able to pour water on it. Not only pour water on it, but answer it with the touchdown, just like the Eagles couldn't stop the Saints all day.
It was just frustrating because anything that went right for the Eagles was like a moral victory.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, again.
Just a little first down. If you got a first down,
that was like
it was
a
a
big
moral
celebration.
victory.
Okay,
yeah.
you kept on the field for a few extra plays, but, the Eagles' opening drive, really for me, right from the jump, Eagles get the ball to start the game. Okay, and you need something special to happen on special teams. You need defense. You need something extra than just the offense to be able to come through for you in this game. And on the very first opening kickoff there to start things off, Trey Sullivan commits a penalty.
Yeah.
It's just right from that moment, you just shook your head and said it's the same stuff that we've seen week in and week out from this team. You needed that a little bit extra. Like you said, the Eagles had to play basically not just their best, their A-plus game. They had to be perfect today, okay? Because they were just undermanned against this Saints team. And it's not just a harp on Trey Sullivan or put it all on one player. It certainly doesn't go on just one person here. But right from there, you just said to yourself, it's just not going to be that crispness that you need from this football team. The Eagles go 3 and out. The Saints get the ball. They go down the field and settle for a field goal. And you felt at that point, you're like, wow, they didn't give up a touchdown on that opening drive. So you kind of feel good about yourself. All right, down 3-0. They're about to get the ball back. Maybe the Eagles could sustain something on offense, but then they go 3 and out. Saints get the ball back, and then Austin Carr scored the first touchdown of the game for the Saints. And the Saints were up 10-0, and you already were kind of feeling like this was going to be a snowball avalanche type effect where, it was just going to cave in on the Eagles here. But the Eagles, just not able to answer anything until Josh Adams get the one highlight for the team there in the second quarter. And, for a brief amount of time, they made it somewhat of a game. They actually got some momentum going there in the second quarter. We'll get into that little play that transpired that kind of really shifted things back toward the Saints and really kept them, allowed them to put the foot on the gas pedal for the remainder of the game, Mike. But as we get into your 3 takeaways here, and I think you already touched on it here, the bottom line is this Saints team, now 9-1, 9 straight wins since losing the opener in a shootout to the Bucs, 45 points and knocking off the unbeaten Rams, 51 points against a good Bengals team, and then 48 points today. So bottom line here, to kick off your takeaways, the Saints are just a better team.
Yeah, I mean, can't really say it much better than that right there, Chris. Saints are just a better football team than the Eagles are. I mean, not just today, but the Saints have been all year long, 9 straight wins for the Saints. You just routed off some of the offensive power that the Saints have been able to display over the last month or so. You look at some of the teams the Saints have been able to knock off. When you talk about the Rams, going on the road to beat the Minnesota Vikings, going on the road to beat the Cincinnati Bengals, coming home, taking care of business against the Eagles right here. 51 points last week on the road in Cincinnati. Come home, put up 48 today. Saints, 9 straight wins. Just a better football team all the way around. Offensively, defensively, Eagles just not playing consistently enough to beat a team like the New Orleans Saints on the road in their building. Just start off with the Saints being a better team. And then I'll look at the Eagles on the offensive side of the football. If they were going to have any chance of winning this game today, they were going to need to be efficient on the offensive side of the ball. Offensively, they continue to struggle. Only 1 trip in the red zone. You saw that late in the game. That resulted in a turnover. Carson's 3rd interception of the game. Carson Wentz, 3 interceptions. When's the last time he's thrown 3 interceptions in a football game in the Eagles uniform? You just don't typically see that from Carson Wentz. Only 7 points on the board, 3 of 10 on 3rd down as well. This Eagles offense going up against this Saints defense, you thought they'd be able to put some points on the board if they were going to have a chance to win this game. More than likely, it would have to be somewhat of a shootout. Eagles don't get the job done offensively, only 7 points. And really, if it was going to be any type of a game today, the defense was going to need to slow the Saints offense down. Too many injuries. Injuries continue to plague the defensive side of the football. They came into the game undermanned without Jalen Mills. You get Sidney Jones hurt in the game today. You get Rasul Douglas hurt in the game today. You get Maddox hurt in the game today as well. Secondary riddled with injuries, going up against a New Orleans Saints offense with Drew Brees, the most efficient passer in the NFL today. Spelled disaster for this Eagles defense. Just couldn't afford to lose anyone else. They lost more bodies on that side of the football. Saints put up 48 points, and quite frankly, could have been 60 points easily.
Sean Payton wanted to go for 50.
Yeah.
Everyone was wondering, why is Drew Brees in the game as late as he was? Why were so many of the key players in there? Look, Sean Payton, to his credit for this, he did not want to see any lack of effort or any slack there late in the game. So a lot of people are going to say, should he have gone for it on that 4th down where Drew Brees threw the touchdown pass to Alvin Kamara? Look, if you're the Eagles, you got to stop it. This is the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay, most teams would say, look, we're not going to keep going at that point. We'll take the field goal. We'll punt the ball away. We'll kneel down. We'll run out the clock and just get out of here to keep everyone safe. No, Sean Payton has Super Bowl in mind. And he said the Super Bowl champs are in our house. We want to embarrass them as much as possible. If you're the Eagles, you have to have the pride to say, we're not going to let that happen, okay? I think the Eagles continue to fight, okay? I know a lot of people are going to say, well, this team must have obviously quit, losing 48-7. Drew Brees was a surgeon, okay? The accuracy, as soon as he saw the nameplate on the back of an Eagles jersey, he threw the ball with perfect anticipation, perfect placement. That touchdown I mentioned to Alvin Kamara, Malcolm Jenkins had good coverage on the play. They showed the field angle of it. I mean, you look at believe it or not here, looking at the stat box here, 73.3% completion percentage is actually below his season average of almost 78. 363 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think the passer rating was around 153, just short of perfect there. But you looked at each one of the touchdown passes, the one to Austin Carr for the first touchdown of the game, the one to tre'quan Smith late in the first half, which really kind of ended the game. Those were all pinpoint, excellent passes that, look, the guys had good coverage on those plays, okay? They had good coverage on the plays. Everyone said, why doesn't the guy turn around? Because Drew Brees is throwing it, before the guy's open, so as soon as the receiver turns, the ball's right there waiting for him, okay? He was absolutely flawless here today, and the Eagles just had no answer to stop him. And you can't blitz him because he gets rid of the ball so quickly. He knows what's coming. The defensive line, it was tough sledding for them because the offense is going 3 and out to start the game. You're keeping the defense on the field. That's what leads to a 15-minute disparity in time of possession, and it was 7-8 minutes early on in the football game. So when you have the defense out there that long, especially with older guys, like you're asking Chris Long, Brandon Graham, Michael Bennett, Fletcher Cox, you're asking these guys to play that many snaps against this high-octane offense. It just spelled disaster. It spelled disaster for this football team today. And that's why the Eagles end up losing 48-7. So, again, we're going to hear from Doug Pearson and Carson Wentz in just a little bit. But with the injuries moving forward, Jason Kelce, suffering the elbow injury very early on in the game. Stephen Wisniewski had to come in for him. You wonder about Kelce, his long-term prognosis. What was interesting, Ike, was that he was upgraded from out by the team to questionable going to the second half. I thought he was going to come back and try to play. And maybe the Eagles just said, look, it's not worth it. You're already hurt. Let's just keep you on the sidelines here. But to me, I think Kelce's the type of person, the type of warrior, he wanted to be out there with his teammates in the second half. But you're looking at those injuries in the secondary. Again, you already lost Ronald Darby for the season. Jalen Mills has been sidelined, okay? And then today, Ronnie McLeod lost for the season. So you're already going to your second-tier guys. But those guys, Rasul Douglas and Devontae Maddox and Sidney Jones getting hurt, it's what can you do? Everyone's going to be asking Jim Schwartz, what could he have done with his defense? When he's not able to get pressure with the front four, you really don't have the option to blitz. And then you have guys who, just don't have a lot of playing experience there on the back end, who, again, I thought at times covered well. It was just the throws by Brees were too perfect. In this league, a perfect throw is going to be perfect coverage. That's just how it is. And Drew Brees showed today why he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, why at this point he should be the MVP of the National Football League, and why the Saints have won 9 straight and are on their way to getting home field advantage in the postseason with the Super Bowl in mind. That team is on a mission. Watching that team was like watching the Eagles in 2017. From all of the joy and the celebrations and all the passion they were showing on the field, that was watching the Eagles a year ago. And of course, the Eagles being the Super Bowl champs, when they go to someone else's house, they're going to get the team's best shot. And like I said earlier, Sean Payton wanted to send a message and say, we just beat the defending Super Bowl champs by 41 points. Don't tell the guys in this locker room that we have the best team in the league, which, that's on them at this point. The Eagles must now regroup and figure out what they're going to do moving forward. Again, with a division showdown against a Giants team that has not quit. They knocked off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. It's a Giants team that is fighting hard here in the second half of the season.
Yeah, you got to just take this game, Chris, and you just got to put it behind you.
Yeah.
I think coming into this game, we sort of knew that the Eagles were going to have to play their best game of the football season in order to beat the Saints. And that just didn't happen today. And it's been a while since we've been able to see this team put together 4 quarters of just good, consistent football. And if you're not going to play that way, you're not going to play mistake-free. You're not going to beat a team like the New Orleans Saints. You just touched on the type of year Drew Brees is having late in his career, arguably playing the best football of his career, has the Saints playing the best football of just about any team in the NFL this year. The Eagles just haven't necessarily gotten to that level just yet, but there's still some goals in front of them that they can reach. Like I said, they must put this game behind them and look forward to trying to win these next few games, their divisional matchups, and try to win the NFC East. That's pretty much what it boils down to. And you're going to use this game as some type of barometer or benchmark to see where you stand or where you stack up against the best in the league, where you see how much further you have to go in order to be up there with the likes of the Saints, the Rams, the Chiefs, the Patriots, teams of that nature, the Steelers. You're not there just yet. But it doesn't mean you can't accomplish some of the things you set out to accomplish, which is win your division. That is still for the taking here. The Redskins lost today. The Cowboys won today.
Washington lost much more than a game today.
They play each other on Thanksgiving on Thursday night, so there's certainly a loss coming there. The Eagles play the Giants next Sunday. Eagles got to sort of refocus and start looking at towards winning this division, put this loss behind them.
Look, Washington faced Houston. They lost the game, but as I mentioned, much more than that. Alex Smith, done for the season, fractured his fibula and tibia, had to undergo surgery immediately after the game, head coach Jay Gruden said. So, and it was 38 years to the day, I believe, of Joe Theismann's injury, and it was a very similar injury. So Washington, with Colt McCoy quarterback, mostly going to come back to the pack a little bit here. And believe it or not, this is the one thing that's going to be stunning. Dallas wins on Thanksgiving. They're tied for first place in the division. And who would have thought that last Sunday, when a lot of people were saying, and myself included, that this could have been the funeral for the Cowboys. Well, let's send it now to the Superdome. Head coach Doug Pearson standing by.
You know, it's hard. Well, it was tough when things kind of started to spiral. I will tell you this, the guys continued to battle, continued to fight. A lot of resiliency in this group. Even battled through some of the injuries, some of the lost players today. But, you know, the mistakes that were made against good football teams, you just can't do.
But with those injuries and where your team is at right now, where do you go from here? I mean, I think you've got 8 or 9 of your top 20, 25 guys out, and, you know, conference really scheduled right now.
Where do we go from here? Well, you know what? We come to work on Tuesday, and we roll up our sleeves and we go to work. And this group is committed to that. And I'm excited for this next few games that we have coming up. Listen, you know, we can only control what we can control. I tell these guys all the time, and we're gonna come to work on Tuesday, and we're gonna prepare. We got the Giants coming in town, and we're excited for that opportunity.
So we go surprise the season has gotten to this point, and not only lose to a good Saints team, but in the way you lost.
Well, you know, I guess what's a little surprising is the amount of injuries keep piling up, and that's something that it's hard each week to, you know, to overcome. But, you know, again, you know, it's something that we've put ourselves in this position, and you know, it's a one game season each week, and you know, I trust every coach, every player, the front office that we're going to get this fixed, and we're going to, you know, it starts with me. And we got to do it, you know, hurry.
What can you say to the team after a loss like that?
Basically what I said. I told them not to hang their head. I told them that we're going to come to work this week. We got a great opportunity in front of us. We're going to stay committed. I asked them that I'm going to lead this football team and follow me. And to every man in there, they embrace that. They understand that they're going to, you know, obviously we're held accountable to the way we played today. But we're going to look at the tape, we're going to fix the mistakes, and get ready for New York.
Is there a fear that a game like that can spiral even farther?
There's always that fear, but I didn't sense that with our group, not at all. I walked around that locker room on offense and defensive side, and to every man, just told them, don't hang their head, let's go. You know, we're obviously in a rough spot right here, but I believe in those players, believe in those coaches, and we'll get it fixed.
You had a couple fourth down opportunities near midfield.
knowing you're going to have to score a lot of points in this game. Why did you decide to punt there and not be more aggressive?
Yeah, I mean there were some opportunities to do that, and elected to punt. Just try to flip the field a little bit, have some field position, and I knew as the game wore on there were going to be some opportunities to do that, and we just didn't get it done.
How the Saints kept the pedal down pretty much when that game was pretty much over. You upset by that?
No, as they should. We got to play ball. I mean, listen, it's football, and if they're gonna, we got to tackle, they're gonna run it, we got to tackle it. If they're gonna throw it, we got to defend it. So, not at all. It's football, and I think if it was flipped the other way, we'd do the same thing. Excuse me? Yeah, I mean it's obviously they're explosive, they're dynamic, they're playing with a lot of continuity right now. They're in sync, and obviously it starts with Drew and the way he handles the team and the offense, and it's hard to get to him. Number one, ball's out of his hand quite quickly, and as a person that played the position and obviously passionate for the sport, it's pretty special to watch somebody like that from afar.
So difficult that goes.
In the second quarter, you had 3rd and 4 at the 46, 4 down territory there, and Carson took a 10-yard sack. What happened on that play?
Well, what happened? We had a shot play called down the field, and he was on Alshon's side. The safety actually rolled over the top, and I think Wiz just got beat inside, and then so the pressure was right on him real fast before he could get the ball out.
Why the deep drop there as opposed to a quick drop?
It's a 3-step drop out of the shotgun, so it's fast. It's just the protection broke down a little bit on that play. Yeah.
It was going to be a tough shot when the schedule came out in April. You knew that. Part of the message that it is still just one game. I mean, maybe the score was out of hand. You didn't want it to be that way, but it's one game.
Exactly right. I'm not looking past this week at all. We obviously have to, own this game today. We got to own our jobs, and we got to get better, obviously. But it's a one game at a time mentality, and we can't look any further past that.
We mentioned the injuries. A lot of those, obviously, it's the secondary corners in particular. How tough is that to go against a player like Drew Brees with guys who?
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, you put it together, you piece it together. We brought guys up off the practice squad, this week to elevate their play and get them in the game. And it's hard when you're going against a Hall of Fame player in Drew and the weapons they have on offense. It's a difficult task, but again, we're not going to hang our heads, and we're going to keep fighting.
And then in addition to that, I mean, you guys obviously got off to a slow start, only cleaning out the first 2 possessions. I mean, how damaging is that, especially against a team like that? They come back and score each time and everything.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you got to stay on the field, and you got to find ways to stay on the field. First play of the game, we had a negative rush there, and then I believe the second play was incomplete, and then we had a 3rd down, 3rd and 11. I mean, it's hard to start games that way, and shot our foot early, and never really regained it after that.
Looked like there were multiple times where the wide receivers weren't sure. There was some confusion about who's supposed to be on the field. I think they had to use a timeout. The one time, what was happening there? Why do you think that's still happening kind of this point in the season?
Yeah, I mean, that obviously starts with me and getting the personnel in the game, and my communication with the assistant coaches on the sideline, and making sure we have a couple personnel packages where really there's no running back on the field, and we're trying to get that personnel in the game, and starts with me. I'll do better.
Couple more, please. In the past, the offense has started off slow, but you've been able to find a rhythm. Why
I think it's just each man. We got to look at ourselves and see if we're just out of sync offensively. Number one, and we got to get back to some continuity. Whether it's more quick throws, screens, whatever it is to kind of get things going. You'd love for your run game to be established, and obviously playing teams like this. I mean, you get down so fast, so early that you feel yourself having to maybe throw just a little bit more to get into the game. But we're going to take a look at it. We'll evaluate it, continue to work, and then get it fixed.
Was there any moment in that game that you questioned effort?
Never once.
Is So you spent this past week talking about urgency, players said the same thing. How do you explain coming out of the game the way you did?
You can't press. You can't come out going, okay, I'm gonna try to make a play. This game has enough plays to be made, and so the messaging to the team is, listen, sense of urgency is this: when the play comes to you, just make the play, just make the play. Carson, if you get an opportunity to you make a play. Alshon, you make a play. Malcolm, you make a play. Fletcher, you make a play. And sometimes you just don't go looking for them. When they come, make them. And that's been the message. And I felt like early that we kind of had that rhythm, but again, just we got to continue to focus on each play at a time.
Was Carson?
All right, thanks, guys.
Was Carson's first interception an example of that, or did he go to the right place with the ball?
It was the right place. The safety cut the deep cross, and Nelly was on the post, and it was the right place to go with the ball.
All right, head coach Doug Pearson addressing the media. A lot of points that I agree with. The biggest takeaway is that he thought the players showed effort throughout the course of the game, and I'm going to point to down 45-7 in the fourth quarter. The Saints were trying to get the touchdown down at the goal line, and Mark Ingram is trying to bulldoze his way into the end zone, and the defensive line guys, Fletcher Cox, Corey Graham at safety, stepping up to make the tackle and make sure he didn't get in there. If they were going to quit, that would have been the time to be like, you know what, we're not going to give up any resistance. We'll just let him into the end zone. So they held him to the field goal on that one. But to me, I agree with that. And really, coach saying, look, no matter the score, the loss is a loss. That one's over. You have to turn the page, address it with your team. Like you said, Ike, they're going to watch the tape on the flight home and then figure out what to do to get ready for a divisional showdown next week with the Giants. But Zach Berman, I believe it was, from the Inquirer, asked the play that was, for me, the turning point. And it was in the second quarter. The Eagles were down 17-7. They were starting to get a little bit of momentum. The Josh Adams got the touchdown. Defense forced a 3-and-out. Okay, it was, I think, the 10th 3-and-out by the Saints for the Saints all season long, according to Fox. So Eagles get the ball back. They're moving. It's 3rd and 3 around midfield. And out of shotgun, it was a shot play down the field. However, Stefan Wisniewski got beat off the line instantly. And then Carson Wentz, it looked like a deep developing play, but Doug Pearson said there was a 3-step drop out of shotgun. The problem was the pressure came up so quick that Wentz got sacked, and that blew up the play. So, and turned out after that, Cameron Johnson drew a roughing the kicker penalty, roughing the punter penalty, and if it were still 3rd and 3, that would have been a first down, but because of the sack, it just put him closer to having a chance for a first down. And there are some questions about whether or not in that situation, knowing you have to kind of do something outside the norm, be a little extra aggressive. Pearson talked about with the play calling, going more with the pass game than the run game, but knowing you needed something special there, down 17-7 already, obviously already being able to tell that the defense was not going to be able really to do a whole lot to slow down the Saints. Maybe you could have taken that chance there. Maybe if it's 4th and 3, you do so, but I believe it's 4th and 8, and at that point, he's still punting the ball away, and really, quite honestly, the game was over after that. So for me, my turning point there, the 3rd and 3 play where so close to finally getting some traction going against the Saints, and unfortunately, Wentz took the sack. They had to punt the ball away, and after that, they never had a chance.
Yeah, and our minds think alike here because my turning point came shortly after that sequence of plays after they failed to get a first down there and have to punt the ball back to the Saints. Saints go down and score a touchdown right before the half. And just like you mentioned, Chris, you're looking at a 17-7 game there. Possibly if the Eagles could go for it on 4th down, even if you get 3, it's a 1-score game there with a little momentum going your way. Saints get the ball back. They score a touchdown. It was really like the worst of both worlds there. Not only do the Saints get the ball back, preventing you from scoring, they go down and score a touchdown. Tre'quan Smith gets a touchdown right before the half, go up 24-7 with the Saints getting the ball coming out of the locker room. And that's why that was so pivotal, such a pivotal moment there, because if the Eagles can somehow sustain that drive, go down and get some points, and then somehow hold the Saints, you got a little momentum going there, yeah. And then maybe it's a 1-score game going into the locker room versus it being 24-7. And with the Saints getting the ball coming out of the locker room, it really was a foregone conclusion that the game was over with right there.
Especially the way the Saints went down the field and got a touchdown on that opening drive. So not a lot of great highlights coming out of this game, but one special moment was Josh Adams getting his first career touchdown on a 28-yard run. It was just the 4th big play touchdown overall for the Eagles this season. Let's check out that play through the eyes of Merrill Cam.
Josh Adams stays in the game. Wentz in the gun. Tight formation. Have to get to the 23 for a first down. Wentz takes the snap. He gives to Adams. Adams has a hole and more. He's at the 15, the 10, 5. Touchdown! Josh Adams, his first touchdown in the NFL.
Outstanding job of blocking this. They blocked this thing up so well. Wisniewski gets a really nice block in the middle. Josh Adams comes right behind him. They clear just enough space. He squeezes, and then he just outruns them at the second level, as you said, for his first NFL touchdown.
Special moment there for Josh Adams. And as we look at the running back picture, not a whole lot to take from this game. Obviously because the Eagles trailed early and trailed big throughout, and Doug admitting they had to kind of go with the pass game. But when you look at the running back rotation moving forward here, Josh Adams has a big opportunity showcasing his talent, because it looks like that he is the lead back. He started in this ball game, got the big play there. He has done nothing since, I would say, the Jacksonville game to say that he shouldn't get the ball more. Coaches hinting earlier this week that he would have a bigger role in the offense, and for the brief time that this game was a close contest, it definitely showed.
Yeah, for a team that's been looking to form some type of identity through their running game, looking for someone to step up and sort of grab the moment and take a hold of that running back position. It seems like Josh Adams over the last couple of games have really shown the biggest flashes. He has the biggest runs from the line of scrimmage this year from the running backs so far. Another got his first touchdown tonight. Really the only bright moment of the game for the team tonight with Josh Adams' run. So I would imagine as you go forward, Josh Adams will continue to get a look. And as long as he continues to be successful, I think he'll garner more carries. I'm still yet a little unsettled on trying to I guess, definitively say this guy is the back that I'm going to go with this week, and he's going to be my guy. Right now, I'd rather just go with the hot hand. That hot hand is clearly Josh Adams.
It's been him for the last few
Corey
weeks,
Clement, nor Wendell Smallwood has necessarily stepped up and grabbed a hold of it. So the rookie out of Notre Dame has seemed to show flashes. He deserves more looks.
So going back to the top of the show, Ike, you gave us your takeaways, and certainly Saints better team at this point. Injuries, huge concern for the Eagles, especially on defense and that secondary. But your second one was very interesting, just what's going on with the offense. And I think that's going to be the big question moving forward. And this is not just the slow starts. This offense has not been able to get going in the first quarter all season long. That has been a consistent problem. But just overall, especially against a Saints defense that have been vulnerable to big plays, okay? Teams have had their way offensively against the Saints this season. They've been able to put up points against the Saints. Again, the Saints' one loss was a 48-40 shootout. So there's a penchant for giving up big plays and points. That just wasn't there, and especially for an Eagles offense that you knew needed to get on track, especially early on in the game, and has been looking for big plays. You look at the numbers here. We talked about the points the Saints have put up this season. I believe it's their sixth game. It's a franchise record, sixth game with 40 or more points today for the Saints, okay, according to Fox.
Yeah.
The Eagles' most was that Giants game, and they just got over 30. So this team that was so prolific in putting up points a year ago has just not able to find that rhythm here in 2018.
Yeah.
All right, and on that note, let's send it back to the Superdome where Carson Wentz is set to address the media.
Carson, you seem to be pretty frustrated at points on the sideline today. Why do you think things didn't go your way?
Yeah, it was a culmination of a lot of things, obviously, today. I've played a lot of football games in my career ever since I was a kid, and this is one of the worst losses I've ever been a part of. And, it's frustrating. It's frustrating all the way around, offensively, defensively, special teams. We just got beat. Plain and simple, we got beat. I got to be better, and it starts with me, especially offensively. I have to get that thing going earlier and early and often. We talk about it all the time, and we just haven't been able to get it fixed. So, it was definitely a frustrating one today, but at the end of the day, we're going to get out of here. We're going to watch this film, and we're going to go play a couple of NFC East opponents here and see what we're made of.
You said last week it was like a broken record. Why isn't the message getting through? How do you explain when you guys keep coming out with it?
Yeah, again, it's hard to say. it's hard to say one thing. We just didn't show up early today. We didn't show up, and we got beat. That's a good football team. Give them credit, but we know we're better than what we put out there today. And I know myself, I gotta be better. I gotta lead these guys better. I gotta come out swinging better, and move the ball, move the chains, make some plays. And I didn't do that, and as a team, we didn't do that either.
Are you pressing too much to try to force things, like when that throw to Aguilar?
I don't think so. The throw to Aguilar early, they made a good play. I didn't quite see the coverage there. Call that cut and replace, and they did a good job of that. And I just saw the safety cut and didn't quite see 23 over there.
It was after that play that you went to the sideline and showed some frustration. What was so frustrating about that play?
I was just mad at myself because I just didn't see the coverage right, and I knew the type of ball game we were in, and the emphasis we put on starting fast, and we didn't do that. And then obviously didn't help the cause either, so I was frustrated.
There was a point in the second quarter where you were actually back in it. It was 17-7, and you were driving, and it was 3rd and 3, and you were sacked by Sheldon Rankins. What happened on that play? What was the call? What were you trying to do, and why didn't it work?
Yeah, we were trying to be aggressive, take a shot down the field. They played a good coverage, and I just didn't get it off in time.
On the final interception, did you expect? I think it was Goddard.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, I don't think he saw the ball, and yeah.
Carson, when you look at this season and last season, you guys did what you did last season, overcome all those injuries, including one to yourself. Are you surprised that you haven't been able to overcome it this year when you had that next man up mentality?
Yeah, I mean, this is a different season, different year, different team. That's the easy comparison to compare it to last year and what we did and all those things. This is a different team, and right now we got to find a way. Injuries happen; those are all part of the game. It sucks, for a lot of these guys to just be missing a lot of time, and it's tough. But it's a new season, new year, and we got to bounce back better.
Carson, you keep saying that it starts with you. How much ownership do you take on these early offensive struggles this season?
A lot. I know I pride myself in coming out swinging early, excited before the game, all those things, and locked in, and we just didn't make enough plays. The last couple of weeks, it's frustrating. So I definitely take a lot of it on my plate, on my shoulders, and I got to come out better.
After a loss like this, do you kind of have to make sure everyone's still engaged, everyone's still focused on what could possibly lie ahead?
I mean, as a leader, you definitely need to. I think the leaders definitely need to, but I've said it a bunch, and we know the guys in that locker room. We know there's not going to be guys that are going to lay down and quit. Today we just got flat out beat badly, but we're going to bounce back. And like I said, we got a couple games here that'll really define this season coming up, and it starts next week. Say that again? You guys feel free to have your own doubts, whatever you want, but we know what we're capable of. I know the product we're putting out there is not up to our standards. I'm not playing up to my standards, and I think you go down the list, everyone's saying that. But we know the guys we have. We know the talent we have. We know the chemistry we have. It just hasn't clicked out there all together. So at the end of the day, all that really matters is the guys in that building, the guys in that locker room, and we all believe that belief's never going to go anywhere. They quit. You'll never see us quit, and so we're excited to get back to work. This is a frustrating one, an embarrassing one, but like I said, we got 3 games. We got a couple NFC East games ahead of us that we'll really see what we're made of.
On those last few possessions when the score is out of reach, what is sort of the message in the huddle? What are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to just chip away and just move the ball. Obviously, I'm trying to take some shots and make some plays, and that cost us some turnovers. So, yeah, that's tough.
Thanks, Carson.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there's quarterback Carson Wentz saying that this is one of the worst losses, starting in Pee Wee all the way through until today, that he's ever been a part of. Very interesting stat here. He had 22 consecutive games dating back to his rookie season with at least 1 touchdown pass, and he also didn't throw any more than 1 interception. Didn't throw a touchdown pass today, as Josh Adams provided the only points for the Eagles, and he had 3 interceptions, his first multi-interception game since his rookie year, so that kind of puts things in perspective. But right before Carson came on, Ike, we were discussing the state of the offense. There's a lot of layers to it, and I get that. But do you have any semblance or any reasoning as to why the offense has taken such a step back here in 2018?
Well, I don't think it's just one thing, Chris. I think it's a multiple facets of the offense that isn't necessarily clicking like it was last year. And I'll just start with the sort of most obvious one. And to me, that's the explosive plays, the plays where you get the big touchdowns. You know, everything the Eagles do this year, they have to work extra hard for. It's just long 10, 11, 12 play drives to put points on the board, not scoring early in games. They just have to work too hard to get points on the board. It causes for everyone really to play a perfect football game. And while Carson has played pretty good football for the most part, he's had times where he has not been perfect. He's turned the ball over. You needed him to be sharper, particularly on third down as well as in the red zone. These are the things that the Eagles excelled at last year. They were the number one team in the red zone as far as scoring. They were the number one team on third down as far as conversions. These are the things they did last year that allowed them to be one of the top 2 or 3 ranked scoring offenses in the league while Carson was still healthy. And then here's the other thing. They're too predictable on offense. And I don't mean that from a schematic, simplistic standpoint. I mean that from a defensive standpoint. If I'm looking at who I need to defend, it's very simple for me. I don't worry about anybody in the running game. I don't have to worry about the Eagles' running game if I'm a defensive coordinator. So therefore, I'm going to look at your passing game. Okay, I'm going to look at your 2 best passing weapons, Alshon Jeffrey, Zach Ertz. While they're both are very good possession type receivers, they don't do a great job of making explosive plays. Alshon isn't going to beat you over the top. He isn't going to outrun you. Neither is Zach Ertz. So if I'm a defense, if I can keep those guys in front of me, I can contain your offense. They may pile up numbers in between the 20s with catches and yards, but as long as I keep those guys out of the end zone, you're going to have a hard time to score when I look at the other weapons you have offensively. When you look at the touchdowns the Eagles have scored offensively, they typically come from Zach Ertz or Alshon Jeffrey. So they become so much more predictable offensively. It makes it a lot easier for them to defend. Whereas last year, Alshon had 8 touchdowns. Nelson Aguilar had 8 touchdowns. Zach Ertz had 8 touchdowns. Torrey Smith had a few touchdowns. You got 5 touchdowns from Trey Burton. You got touchdowns from your running game, from whether it was Jay Ajayi or LeGarrette Blount or Corey Clement in your passing game. The Eagles' offense last year scored from just about everywhere, whereas this year, I know that your points are only coming from 2 guys, Zach Ertz or Alshon Jeffrey, which makes it a lot easier for me as a defense to defend, which makes it a lot harder for Carson to have sustained success. That's why you see it in sort of spurts, but you don't see it sustained because after a while, a defense knows where you're going with the football.
I think that was spot on. Absolutely spot on. I'm just going to add to that 4 explosive play touchdowns on the season.
On the season?
That's up 20 yards or more. 2 of them came in the Jacksonville game.
Right.
And then 1 came today, courtesy of Josh Adams. So we heard from Doug Pearson a short time ago in his press conference. Eagles Hall of Fame wide receiver Mike Quick stepped out of the broadcast booth with Merrill Reese, came on down and did this one-on-one interview. Always had fantastic questions, always provides some added insight. Doug is very good in answering these questions, so definitely a must-listen here. Mike Quick, Doug Pearson, 101. Take it away, guys.
A few of those, wow, like what was that sort of thing. And then you go.
All right, unfortunately, having problems with that. We will have it for you on the website and the app later on this evening. So we're going to do a little film breakdown, a little Ricoh review after this first break here on the Postgame Show presented by Ricoh. Just to note, though, if you are following us on Facebook or Twitter, you need to come on over to PhiladelphiaEagles.com or the app to watch the rest of the show. We'll give you a few minutes to get situated.